Tulsi Gabbard, baby. Here we go. She made her debut yesterday at the confirmation hearings. Eloquent, good-looking, intelligent, great record of service. So, of course, the Democrats hate her guts. Former Democrat, ran for president as a Democrat, was a Democrat congressman. The Democrats hate her. And some Republicans are skeptical of her, too, because she does not toe the old uniparty line. For decades now in Washington, there has more or less been a consensus on foreign policy, not always on domestic policy, but on foreign policy. The old line in 2009, 2010 was, they told me that if I voted for John McCain, we'd get another war in the Middle East, and that's exactly what happened. I voted for John McCain, we got another war in the Middle East. The two parties have pursued the same policy. And in part, this makes sense because nations and empires need to have grand strategy that doesn't change every 4 years. But sometimes the American people put in a change agent, and that's what they've done with Trump. And Trump has followed that mandate from the American people. He's nominated Tulsi Gabbard to be the top spy. Here's why she says she wants the job.
The American people elected Donald Trump as their president not once, but twice. And yet the FBI and intelligence agencies were politicized by his opponents to undermine his presidency and falsely portray him as a puppet of Putin. Title I of FISA was used illegally to obtain a warrant to spy on Trump campaign advisor Carter Page, using a Clinton campaign-funded false dossier as their so-called evidence. Biden campaign advisor Tony Blinken was the impetus for the 51 former senior intelligence officials' letter dismissing Hunter Biden's laptop as disinformation specifically to help Biden win the election. Former DNI James Clapper lied to this committee in 2013, denying the existence of programs that facilitated the mass collection of millions of Americans' phone and internet records, yet was never held accountable. Under John Brennan's leadership, the CIA abused its power to spy on Congress, to dodge oversight, lied about doing it until he was caught, and yet has never been held responsible. Under Biden, the FBI abused its power for political reasons to try to surveil Catholics who attend traditional Latin Mass, labeling them as quote-unquote radical traditionalist Catholics.
Love her. Greatest confirmation hearing for a DNI in my lifetime, since the DNI position has existed. Really good stuff. This is exactly what we need. Of all the corruption in the government, the corruption in the intelligence community over the last 10 years has been perhaps the most egregious. You have the intel agencies and the DOJ conspiring with the Democrats to cook up a bunch of nonsense on Trump to prevent him from being elected the first time. Then you got the deep state and the intel agencies conspiring to try to undermine Trump's entire administration. Then you got the deep state and all the intel agencies conspiring to suggest that Trump is some threat to national security in 2020. They just keep doing it. They've said this about Tulsi. They've said Tulsi's a Russian asset. Does Tulsi Gabbard sound like a KGB stooge to you? She sounds really intelligent to me. She sounds like she's identifying real problems that have been festering for decades. The DOJ, FBI, CIA spying on people. In the case, that last example she mentioned, spying on my churches, okay? The traditional Latin Mass, the Mass of the Ages that existed from roughly 600 AD as the major form of the Roman Rite, all the way to after the Second Vatican Council, and still exists in a lot of places. Yeah, that bothers me a lot. And so, no, I don't want some regular uniparty apparatchik. I want Tulsi. And the squish Democrats, or rather the hardcore Democrats, are going to hate her. The squish Republicans better tread very, very carefully. The American people voted for change, specifically on the IC. Vote against Tulsi at your own peril. This is a big issue for people. And if some Republican senators don't get the message, they're going to be left behind. Go to lumen.me/Knowles. And then jumpstart your health in 2025. There's an incredible tool that will give you and me and all of us real-time insight into our metabolism through something as simple as breath. It's called Lumen. Lumen is the world's first handheld metabolic coach. I'm not the biggest into fitness or anything. I don't go to the doctor very much. But this is easy. You're not drawing blood. You're not doing a stress test. You're just breathing into this device first thing in the morning, and you know exactly what's going on with your metabolism. whether you're burning fats or carbs. And then based on those measurements, Lumen takes the guesswork out, creates a personalized nutrition plan just for you. You can breathe into it before and after workouts and meals. You know exactly what's going on with your body in real time. This is incredible technology. It's extremely affordable. It's a great way to up your health game for all of your 2025 New Year's resolutions. Your metabolism is your body's engine, powering everything you do. So optimize your metabolic health, and you get improved energy, better fitness results, enhanced sleep quality. Go to lumen.me/Knowles. Get 20% off your Lumen, LUMEN.me/Knowles, KNWLES, for 20% off your purchase. Thank you, Lumen, for sponsoring this show. In part, Tulsi was called a Russian stooge because she raised a point about the Middle East that is a point that I've made on this show for many, many years. Namely, that while all the neocons and the establishment foreign policy folks have been clamoring for regime change in Syria, actually that old Bashar Assad wasn't so bad. And sometimes the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. Here is Tulsi defending her record.
I shed no tears for the fall of the Assad regime, but today we have an Islamist extremist who is now in charge of Syria, as I said, who danced on the streets to celebrate the 9/11 attack, who ruled over Idlib with an Islamist extremist governance, and who has already begun to persecute and kill and arrest religious minorities like Christians in Syria.
I understand.
Why that should be acceptable to anyone is beyond me.
It shouldn't
is
be.
certainly
and
not in our
interests. I appreciate.
Okay, I understand. That's too much common sense, Ms. Gabbard. Please stop mentioning common sense. Why does the Uniparty, why does the foreign policy establishment hate Iran so much? And why have they been so obsessed with getting rid of Bashar Assad? Because we have alliances in the Middle East. And because it's good for Turkey, our longstanding NATO ally, if Assad goes down. Okay, I get why Turkey wanted Assad to go down. It's good for the state of Israel for Assad to go down, because Assad was a puppet of Iran. Iran is the chief enemy of the state of Israel. I get why Israel wants Assad to go down. It's good for Saudi Arabia. No, these are all three longstanding allies of the United States. I get why Saudi Arabia wants Assad to go down, because Saudi Arabia's chief opponent is also Iran. But why do we care so much? That's the question. Is it really, for all of Bashar Assad's sins, the guy actually did protect religious minorities, much more so than these radical Islamists are going to. He protected Christians a lot more than these radical Islamists are going to. Tulsi's raising that question. That's a common sense question. That's going to appeal to a lot of American people. It's going to make the foreign policy establishment in the Beltway, it's going to make their head explode. But these are basic questions. Sometimes people get so lost in grand strategy, so lost. It's like Dr. Strangelove, you know? They can explain in all sorts of abstract theories why it's great to have some psycho-Islamist take over a major country in the Middle East. But I think we need to inject a little more common sense again. And I think that's exactly what Tulsi's DNI appointment is about. That was a great clip. Now stop, ring the bell, do it right now. Don't even think about it. Boom, boom, done. See you next time.